Your newborn doesn't need you to have it all figured out. They don't need the perfect routine or the latest baby gear or a parent who knows exactly what they're doing from day one. What they really need from you is actually much simpler. Hi, I'm Janine from Bellies to Babies. I've been teaching antenatal classes in early parenting education for over 21 years. And one of the things I see a lot of is how much pressure new parents put on themselves to get everything right. Before babies even arrived, you've been told what they should sleep in, how they should feed, how often they should feed, how to settle them, when to put them down, whether you're creating a bad habit, and the list goes on. So today, I'm going to strip all of that back and talk to you about what your newborn actually needs from you in those first few weeks. And I think you might be surprised of how simple some of it is. They need to feel safe. The first thing your newborn needs is to feel safe. Think about where they've just come from. For months, they've been tucked up inside your body. It's warm and it's dark and it's snug, and they're constantly moving with you. They hear your heartbeat, your breathing, your voice, and all the familiar sounds of your body. And then suddenly they're born into this enormous, bright, noisy world. There's space around them. They've been dressed and undressed, and they're hungry and they're cold, and they're experiencing all sorts of sensations that they've never had before. So it's not surprising that newborn really want to be held. And they want your warmth, and they want your smell, and they want to hear your voice. And sometimes they'll be perfectly happy asleep on your chest. And then the moment that you carefully lower them into their bassinet, their eyes open. It's not your baby being difficult, and it's not because you've spoiled them by holding them too much, but being close helps them feel safe. They need you to respond. Your newborn can't tell you what they need with words, so they communicate through their behaviour, and crying is actually quite a late cue. Before crying, your baby might start moving around more. They might turn their head, bring their hands to their mouth, make little noises, or start that rooting reflex. And over time, you'll begin to recognise these little signals. And I really want to emphasise over time. You're not expected to look at your 3-day-old baby and instantly know what every little noise means. You'll get it wrong sometimes. You'll think they're hungry and actually they need a cuddle. You'll think they're tired and then realise that actually they just need a nappy changed. You'll feed them, wind them, change them, cuddle them, and still have absolutely no idea why they're grumpy. That's normal. You're learning each other. Responding doesn't always mean that you need the answer. Sometimes responding simply means saying, I can see you're not happy. I'm here. Let's work this out together. They need to feed often. Newborn babies have tiny, tiny tummies, and they need to feed frequently. So whether you're breastfeeding expressly, formula feeding, or using a combination, feeding can take up a surprisingly large amount of your day and night. One of the things that can catch new parents by surprise is that feeding isn't always nicely kind of spaced out. Your baby might have a feed and then want another one much sooner than you expected. They may cluster feed, particularly at certain times of the day. It doesn't automatically mean that something's wrong. Rather than becoming completely focused on the clock, start learning what your baby's feeding cues look like. And if you have any concerns about feeding, your baby's weight, wet nappies, or whether they're getting enough food, ask for help. You don't have to struggle alone trying to figure everything out. They also need sleep, but probably not the way you're expecting. Newborns sleep a lot, but newborn sleep can look really different from what adults think of as sleep. It's spread out through the day. They wake frequently. They can be noisy. They wiggle, they grunt. They make little squeaks and strange noises that have you staring into the bassinet at 3 o'clock in the morning wondering, is that normal? And very often it is. They also don't know that nighttime is supposed to be when everybody sleeps. Their circadian rhythm isn't properly developed yet. So those lovely, predictable day-night patterns come later. In the beginning, your job isn't to teach your newborn to sleep through the night. It's to provide them with a safe place to sleep and respond to them when they're awake. They need help regulating. Now, this is something I wish more parents were told about before bringing their babies home. Babies aren't very good at regulating themselves yet. They need help. And your body can actually regulate their temperature, their heart rate, and their breathing. Holding them, skin-to-skin contact, gently rocking them, talking to them and responding to them when they're distressed all help. Sometimes we get so focused on trying to get babies to be independent that we forget just how dependent a newborn is supposed to be. You don't need to teach a 2-week-old baby to self-settle. They're not creating a problem by comforting themselves. You're helping them develop their nervous system cope with this completely new world. They also need connection, not entertainment. Don't need to entertain your newborn all day. They don't need enormous amounts of toys. They don't need organised activities every waking moment. To a newborn, you are fascinating. Your face is interesting. Your voice is interesting. Being carried around while you talk to them is interesting. Looking at the light coming through the window can be interesting. Those little everyday interactions are doing far more than you might realise. So talk to your baby. Make eye contact when they're awake and alert. Sing to them, even if you can't sing. Let them look at your face. Give them opportunities for tummy time when they're awake and supervised. You don't have to constantly stimulate them. In fact, newborns can become quite overstimulated quite quickly. Sometimes less really is more. And they need you to look after yourself too. This one's really important. Your baby's needs matter, but yours haven't suddenly disappeared because you've had a baby. You still need food, you need water, you need sleep when you can get it, you need a shower, and you need reassurance. You need other adults around you who aren't just asking to hold the baby, but are actually looking after you. Someone making you lunch can be far more helpful than somebody arriving for a cuddle with the baby. And if a partner or support person, this is what they are doing, and they are incredibly important. Looking after a newborn shouldn't mean one person doing absolutely everything. There are plenty of ways someone else can care for you and your baby, even if you're breastfeeding. They can change nappies, they can settle, they can bring you food and drink, they can take care of household jobs, they can manage visitors, and they can make sure that you're getting opportunities to rest. You don't have to get everything right. If you're pregnant and watching this, there's something that I really want you to take away. You don't have to become an expert on babies before yours arrives. Learn the important things. Learn about safe sleep, the basics of feeding, learning how to recognise when your baby might be unwell and when you might need to ask for help. But don't put any pressure on yourself to know your baby before you've even met them, because so much of parenting a newborn isn't about following a perfect set of instructions. It's about getting to know this particular little person. You'll start noting the face they make just before they're about to cry. You'll recognise their hunger noises. You'll recognise the position they love to be held in. You'll figure out what settles them when they're tired, and you'll learn all of that by spending time together. Not because somebody handed you the perfect newborn manual. So, what does your newborn actually need from you? They need to be fed, warm and safe. They need sleep. They need comfort. They need you to respond when they're telling you something. They need closeness and connection. But most importantly, they don't need perfection. You're allowed to learn as you go. If you're preparing for your first baby, have a look at my other videos, because we're talking about everything from newborn sleep and feeding to those first few weeks at home. And if you've already had a baby, I'd love to know in the comments, what's one thing you wish somebody had told you about newborns before you brought yours home? Your answer might be exactly what another new parent needs to hear. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.